Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, some 50, 60 years ago, leadership was easy. The boss said, "Because I said so," and the employees would follow along. Well, that doesn't fly today. We'll be talking to a national expert next.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, I would suggest to you that it's harder to be a leader today than any time in history because there's so much chaos going on. Everything from the great resignation that's going on to employee morale issues. The person across the street offers $5 more an hour. And then just the overall stress of the economy and world events. It's causing many leaders to rethink their leadership style. To talk about that today, Drew Jackson. He is a speaker, author, trainer. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your upbringing, because I know everything for all of us really gets shaped as a child.
Yeah, so I mentioned to you earlier, I was a pastor's kid. I'm a pastor's kid. My dad's still a pastor. And I grew up in a great home. And my mom thanked me a few years ago. I said, I have nothing but positive memories growing up in our home. And she said, that's awesome. That's great to hear that. But yeah, great upbringing. Dad was a communicator.
Now what's with the tongue sticking out?
I don't know. You know, I mean, that might just kind of speak to me a little bit more outgoing. My sister, very loving, and you know, a snuggling dad there, and me just cutting up. So it fits.
That's awesome. But did you learn some lessons from your dad just growing up as a PK?
Yeah, so my dad is great at connecting with others. So making the person across the table be the most important person in that moment. And that's what I learned from him, and it's been very good to me, that skill.
I think we have the same thing in common. My dad taught me the same lesson.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I want to know about the pivot, because you were a pastor for a while.
Yes. Yeah, so I was a pastor, and I planted a church, like I mentioned earlier, in Santa Barbara, California. Had a great time, but realized that I had an opportunity. I was reaching out to a lot of business folks, and the business folks liked what I was sharing, liked my weekly email, what I was communicating. And so I was at this crossroads where I could continue to do the church lane. I thought I could be good at it if I did it forever. But I really thought I could be great at running my own business and helping people with all the leadership experiences that I had in the nonprofit world.
Okay, let's talk about John Maxwell.
Yeah.
Because a huge thought leader in this space.
Yeah.
Tell us about Robin. I'm gonna fix his mic, and we'll just edit. Yeah, it popped out. That's my fault. Okay, so let's talk about John Maxwell.
Yeah. So John Maxwell, I mean, he is the #1 leadership guru around the world, and really, I know we'll probably talk about this in a minute, but my book, I wrote the book based on a conversation that I had with him. I'd run into a wall in business. And I called him up, and it's hilarious how I prefaced the question. I said, John, I don't know if you've ever run into a wall in business. I mean, that's how low a place I was at, right? I said, but if you have, what do you do? And he began to share with me some tips and techniques of overcoming those obstacles. And I thought, that was a few years ago. I overcame obstacles. My business is going great. And I thought, I have to help other people, you know, kind of overcome these obstacles in their business. And so I wrote a very practical book. Help them do that.
And you're a certified John Maxwell coach. What does that mean?
Yeah, so that means that I have gone through the process to be certified through his coaching program, gone to the live event, been mentored by him and his team so that I can have that brand and have that certification.
All right, the book.
Yeah.
Tell us about the book.
Yeah, so the book it's called The Executive Leader's Handbook, and it really is a handbook. It's the type of book that you have on your desk, and when you run into a leadership challenge, whether it's communication, organizational leadership, or maybe a mindset thing, there's little chapters, maybe 2-3 pages each, that will give you some tips on how to overcome that. And I wrote this really as a leave behind for my clients. I meet with my executive coaching clients, and we have our time together, but then it's not forever. Coaching isn't meant to go on and on forever. And so I thought I want to give them something with some of the tips and the techniques that I've taught them that they can refer back to. And so that's why I wrote the book.
You're also a very popular speaker and trainer. We've got some video of you out there on the circuit.
All right.
What's your most popular speech? What do people ask you to speak about?
Overcoming obstacles in business would probably be my number one right now. And it is, it's so practical and so relevant to people every day, right? You talked about the chaos in leadership today, the challenges in leadership that we're facing today. And if you have a roadmap and some guidelines on how to overcome those obstacles, then you're winning. You're winning the game.
Give us an example of why people will bring you in to coach, and how does somebody know if they need a coach like you?
Yeah. So, either they have an opportunity that's bigger than they've ever had before, or the yogurt has hit the fan, right? Those are usually the two reasons why people bring me in. Sometimes it's to fix a problem. You have some challenges, and other times you just want to go to the next level. So what I like to tell people is a great method is or a remedy is to understand what is the big thing that you're going for. So I like to come in, and if there's a company that they have a big goal, whether it's a revenue goal or something they want to achieve, they bring me in. I come alongside them, partner with them, and help them go to that next level.
How about the whole remote versus office debate? Because I think that's a challenge for a lot of companies.
Yeah, it's different for every company and how they work with it. I've seen some people say the organizations that have the best employees moving forward are going to be open to remote. I do think flexibility is a big factor. For some jobs, it's not doable. You just can't have them work remote. But if they're getting the job done and they're a professional in what they do, then why not let them work from home? That's kind of my philosophy and what I've seen as far as morale. If you want to see that morale stay up, I think that's a big part. And people will even give up income in order to have some of those freedoms of not commuting.
Let's talk about the challenges of leading a remote team, because it's different than a physical office, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So the communication piece is key. You're no longer walking past their office and saying hi. So how are you going to get that interaction? And the companies that were winning in this during the pandemic that are my clients, they were having daily meetings, even if it's just a pop-in 15 minutes. Now, I'm not saying we have to do that forever, but there has to be clear parameters on an understanding that we're going to move forward with whatever we discussed right now with that understanding until you say otherwise, right? So I'm going to operate with the information that we just communicated until you notify me of something different. So if we can stay disciplined in that, and I modify based on changing conditions, and I communicate that to you as my employer, then we're good, and we can spread out those meetings. But if not, we need to have them more often.
How often is either for good or for bad, the issue is with the CEO? I mean, does the CEO set the tone for the entire organization?
Well, the saying everything rises and falls on leadership. So that is definitely, I've been part of organizations where the senior most leader wants to go one direction. The team says, hey, let's kind of do this. It's never going to work out, right? The senior leader, they have the bully pulpit. They have that opportunity to really convey what it is that they want, then the direction they want the organization to go. So yeah, everything rises and falls on leadership. And so that highest level of leadership is ultimately going to determine the success of the organization.
Sure. Do you sometimes get hired to coach the C-suite, and then you discover from talking to the C-suite, it's the CEO is the person I need to be coaching?
Absolutely. So that's very often is that you have this second line, and they're like, just get them right, you know?
Yeah,
and it's like, man, how about we get together and hang out and talk about what needs to go on? Because there are a lot of challenges in that way. But the biggest thing is, communication. People need to be able to talk to the CEO and have those candid conversations about where they see things and what they feel needs to maybe be changed in the organization.
All right. Final thoughts. What would you like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I think, you opened up with chaos and leadership, and really the most important question that any leader out there at any level can ask themselves is the WIN. What's important now, right? What is the most important thing right now that I could be doing? What is the most important thing during this day with the changing conditions that I'm facing? What's important now?
That's beautiful. Drew, we'll have to have you back. So we'll leave with your website, which is drewtjackson.com. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.